Hello, Kensington Knights. Today we're going to talk about the C and the RACE strategy. This is the RACE strategy. This is where you're going to put your anchor chart and you're going to write the topic here, today's date here, and this is your, I think that date's wrong. Write the correct date in that spot. Okay, and then these are your boxes, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you remember, I had you take this sheet of paper that's on the odd side and fold it in half lengthwise and make a crease so that you have a guide for writing that line down the middle. Okay? Then what you'll want to do is you'll want to count 14 or 15 up from the bottom, and you'll want to let that be your halfway line so that you can create the 4 boxes. Now, I've done something really handy. I've taken a Sharpie and I've marked that 14th line. I never have to count lines again because I've marked every page exactly where that middle line is. Okay? And we're off to the next slide. Snow. When the flying boat returns to the earth at last, I open my eyes and gaze out at the round window. What is all the white? I whisper. Where is all the world? The helping man greets me, and there are many lines and questions and pieces of paper. At last, I follow him outside. We call that snow, he says. Isn't it beautiful? Do you like the cold? I want to say no. This cold is like claws on my skin. I look around. The dead grass pokes through the unkind blanket of white. Everywhere the snow sparkles with light, hard as the high sun. I close my eyes. I try out my new English words. How can you live in this place called America? It burns your eyes. The man gives me a fat shirt and soft things like hands. Coat, he says. Gloves. He smiles. You'll get used to it, Keck. I am a tall boy, like all my people. My arms stick out of the coat like lonely trees. My fingers cannot make the gloves work. I shake my head. I say, this America is hard work. His laughter makes little clouds. Okay, so this is my part. I'm thinking about the passage that we just read. And my question is, how does the author's choice of words show how Keck feels about his new home? Well, the first thing I'm going to do, since this lesson is focused on the RACE strategy, is I'm going to think to myself, how can I reword the statement based on the question? If you'll notice, I have at the top of the screen the author's choice of words in bold and underline. And as I begin making that question stem, the author's choice of words show that Keck is, but I have nowhere to put his home. It doesn't make sense to say Keck is at his new home because that doesn't show anything about Keck's response to his new home. So I have to tack his new home on the end of the sentence so it makes sense. So in this situation, the answer is actually embedded in the middle of the sentence. The author's choice of words show that Keck is, and this is where I talk about his feelings, shocked by the environment, and then I bring in that last part of the statement, his new home. If we look at the E or the C, that's what we're really focused on today. You guys have gotten pretty good at the R and the A. So we're going to look at the C, and the C is when you really go back and you're kind of like a lawyer and you're like, hey, I'm going to prove to you that he's shocked. And this is the evidence that I'm going to use to prove it. And we use phrases to get our thoughts going, like, for example, to let the reader know that evidence is coming up. So if you look at the way I fashioned that second part, or the C part, it says, for example, Keck says, where is all the world? Because he can't see everything because it's all covered in white. And I explain that it's all covered in snow, and so he can't see the earth. He also says that the cold claws at my skin, and the snow is an unkind blanket of white. So he uses words like claws, and he uses the word unkind because normally when you think of a blanket, you think of it as very comforting and, oh, isn't it so cozy? But that's not how he's explaining it. So that further shows that he is shocked. And then if you feel like stretching yourself and trying a little bit more, the E, just to give you a preview of what it looks like, this makes me think that Keck has never been as cold as he is right now because his words are so negative. When the flying boat returns to the earth at last, I open my eyes and gaze around out the round window. What is all the white? I whisper. Where is all the world? The helping man greets me, and there are many lines and questions and pieces of paper. What are some of the clues that the author gives you that Keck is new to speaking English? Now, I want to remind you as you try to answer this question based on the passage that I've given you. So we're not scrolling back to the rest of the poem. We're just looking at that little set of quotes that I gave you. In those few sentences, what tells you that English is brand new to Keck? Remember to ask yourself, how am I going to restate the sentence? What's my complete answer? And how am I going to support my answer? That's that new piece. That's that piece when you go back into the sentences and say, well, the character did this, or the character said that, or the character thought this. We always look at their actions, thoughts, and what they say to help us understand how they feel inside. And when we're talking about a character's feelings, that is drawing a conclusion. I hope you've enjoyed this slideshow, and I can't wait to meet you in Teams. Read on.